Well, hello there, party people. Today I am 36 weeks pregnant. Recently, I decided that I want to have a home birth. After talking with some friends, it dawned on me like, why am I not doing it? So yeah, I decided that I want to have a home birth. I think the preparation to have a home birth is a little bit different than if you were planning to have a hospital birth. I'm not saying one is easier or harder than the other, but definitely the preparation is a little bit different when you are not going to have access to an epidural or doctors and nurses. Mentally, there are things that you have to do to kind of train your brain and reroute your brain and prepare your brain and your body and your soul for that kind of scenario, especially if you are someone like me who is a little bit more on the anxious side of things and worries a lot. For me, preparation makes me feel better. So yeah, I just wanted to share with you just a few of the things that I am doing to prepare for an all-natural, at-home water birth. The first thing I want to talk about is how I'm preparing my mind, body, and soul for the actual act of giving birth and the marathon that it is to give birth. So the first thing that I'm doing is taking a birth class. Even though I've already given birth before, I think this is number one, top priority. Preparing for a natural labor and delivery, for me, requires me to know what is happening with my body. Like, I need to know the different stages of labor. I need to know how it's supposed to feel. I would like to know the ins and outs of giving birth before I go to do it. And I feel like a birth class is the perfect way to get that. And then what are all the different ways that you can push? What are all the different ways that you can breathe? The positions that you can labor in and manage your contractions through. Last time with Kairos, I took the birth course by Mama Natural. And that was good. That was really, really good, really informative. I feel like it definitely helped to get my mind in the right space. It helped challenge my whys for a lot of things. Why do you want to have an all-natural birth? Like, it really does help cement why you are choosing this route. It was actually really helpful for my husband too to understand the world of birth and how medically it is treated as a medical procedure or like an emergency thing when it's not. It helped him see that it was a more natural process and that we could do this without being at a hospital. This time around, I decided to go with Bridget Taylor or Tyler? I decided to go with her birth course just because I really, really love how in-depth and almost scientific she gets with things. She is a doula, and I have always watched her YouTube videos, like binged all of her content. And I just think that this time around, I want to get a different perspective from the same realm of things. There are also plenty of free things on the internet. Just watching birth vlogs, watching home birth vlogs, watching water birth vlogs to get my mind prepared and kind of in that mindset again to get ready to go through it. As far as my body, there are several things. I feel like nothing that I'm about to say has like concrete, solid proof, but it's everything that I did with Kairos, and my labor was so beautiful. The first thing is trying to get in 6 to 8 dates a day. Not perfect. I didn't do it well with Kairos either, but I'm trying to find creative ways to do it. I have been putting it in smoothies. I plan to melt some chocolate and do chocolate covered dates. Sometimes I just eat them straight up. Though dates in America taste, I feel like, way, way, way different than the dates in Tajikistan. I don't know what it is. I just can't eat a whole date here and not feel like Another thing I have been doing is drinking a double brew of raspberry leaf tea. And now that I'm 36 weeks pregnant, I'm going to start taking that more seriously. It is supposed to help prepare your cervix, just like the dates, to be softer, I believe, for labor. If you watch my birth story video with Kairos, I showed up to the birth center basically just ready to go. 10 centimeters, 100% effaced, everything was ready to go. Maybe a couple that you've heard of before. Exercise. I have been doing Every Mother workout program. It's called Every Mother. It's an app. And I try to get in a workout here or there, but I really like how they specify for your pelvic floor and for specifically for preparing to give birth. And then also going to the chiropractor. For me, if you were to ask me, does the chiropractor really help? I could not in good faith say 100% yes. All I know is I did it with Kairos and I had an amazing labor, so I'm doing it again. I know a lot of people who swear by it. It just gives me peace of mind to know that they say your body is getting in alignment so that you have an easier time pushing the baby out. And I think there could be some truth to that. Sure, if things are not in a line, then you could have a harder time. And I've heard countless stories of people who were in labor, got an adjustment, they were in labor for a really long time. The baby was just having a hard time coming down. They got an adjustment mid-labor and birthed a baby. So I choose to do it because, again, I had a great labor and delivery with Kairos. The next thing you may not have heard, but if you watched my birth story video with Kairos, you did hear it. I was at a conference or an event one time talking to another mom. I was pregnant with Kairos, and she told me one thing she did to prepare for labor was take cold showers. And I just thought this was brilliant, so I tried it with Kairos, and it really is a great way to mentally prepare how to breathe during an uncomfortable, really uncomfortable situation. For me, cold and me are like oil and water. I despise the cold, cannot stand it. Yeah, so for me to do that and learn how to relax my body, not tense up, breathe for at least a minute during that cold part of the shower. That right there literally trains your brain how to get through intense contractions. Highly recommend, even when you get Braxton Hicks or when you stub your toe, practice your breathing during uncomfortable situations. I cannot stress this enough. This is how your body and mind stays relaxed during labor, and the more relaxed you are, I've heard it said, and I feel like this really did happen with my labor. The more relaxed you are, the faster it goes or the easier it goes. I won't say easy as in, this is a breeze, but your body is more at ease with the process and you're not fighting the process so much. I did squeeze Tyler's hand throughout contractions too, but if it wasn't for my breathing, man, I don't know what would have got me through. Now, as far as my soul, how am I preparing my soul to give birth? And there's just one simple thing really, and it's prayer. I don't know how anybody does anything without prayer, but especially labor and delivery. This is such an intense spiritual thing. You are bringing a human life into this world. Your body is doing a whole bunch of things that you didn't tell it to do. It's all happening subconsciously. There's so much that is happening that you can't see, and I just feel like it's such a spiritual thing. There's also a lot of anxiety involved with it, especially for me. So prayer, sending up my thoughts, cares, worries, giving them to the Lord, telling him how I would like my birth to be and trusting it to go exactly as he plans it to go. When you do that, when I do that, and when I leave it in his hands, it tells me, it reassures me that no matter how it goes, no matter what turns it takes, the Lord has already went ahead of me. He knows what's going to happen in advance. And even if it doesn't go the way that I want, I know that he's there and he is in it. That fact alone provides me with the peace and comfort that I need to get through that delivery. I pray for everyone involved. So my husband, the doula, the midwives, like just covering everything in prayer, covering the whole experience, the baby especially, my body. I feel like this really prepares my entire being to be able to do this with confidence and with faith, no matter what happens. I also think it's really important to really settle in to your hobbies pre-giving birth. I think sometimes, for me at least, I tend to forget all the things that make me me and that bring me joy, and I get so wrapped up in baby mode and baby brain and looking up all things baby. But I think it also is important to really ground yourself in your hobbies and the things that bring you joy, because once postpartum comes, it's going to be a whirlwind, and those are the things that are going to make you slowly start to feel human again. At least for me, I really loved when I started crocheting again, when I started journaling again. There's certain things that I need to root myself in before giving birth, to kind of give myself a space where it's just me doing me things and not focusing so much on all things baby. A few things that I'm thinking about for during my labor is who I want to be in my room, which really it's just Tyler, the doula, and the midwives. And then thinking how I want my setting to be, or the vibe of the room to be. Here I think I can have a lot of freedom to just set the tone, set the vibe of how I want it to be. So I'm really thinking about that. I'm also thinking about the scent, the smell, the essential oils that I want going during labor. That's a good thing to think about beforehand. Maybe have it written out, get those things prepared way in advance. I'm 36 weeks, so we're getting close, but yeah, I want to get those things prepared so that we're not frantically trying to do that mid-labor. I'm also thinking about what I want to remind me of scripture and prayer. So I am creating playlists, my worship playlist. I actually did have a playlist with Kairos, but I ended up only listening to strictly Christian hypnobirthing the entire time, and really just a few tracks of her praying and reading scripture over me. For me, that was crucial. Like just hearing the scripture playing over and over, hearing the word read out loud to me was so grounding and so beneficial for me during labor, especially when things were getting really intense. When I noticed myself getting really anxious and rising with the tension, to hear the scripture just kind of brought me down to reality. So that's one thing that I have already signed up for. Again, I've gotten a subscription to, and for me it's helpful to start listening to them even beforehand and practice just meditating on it beforehand, so I know how it feels to be relaxed and calm. And lastly, I am thinking about postpartum. I'm thinking about what my boundaries are. There are certain things that I did last time when we gave birth that I probably will change, and there's things that I didn't do that I probably will do again. So my advice is to think about what those boundaries are for you. Do you want people to see the baby right away? Do you want to give it time? Do you want people to bring food? Do you want people to just send food? Think about those things ahead of time, and then communicate it very early and very often. I think you can never communicate too much to people. This is how I would like it to be. For me, I'm working on not feeling bad so much about communicating certain things that I would like done or not done. I'm thinking through what I want those first initial days to look like, and then those first 6 weeks to look like, because those are drastically different. Yeah, I'm practicing communicating those early and often and not feeling bad, and also communicating my heart behind it. It's one thing to say, I don't want you to come for this many days and leave it at that, or you can communicate your heart and your why, and the people you love and that love you, they should be able to understand. Know that you are the mom, you're the one who just gave birth, and you have control over your environment. So if you're a people pleaser like me, work on growing that backbone a little bit to say, no, this is what I would like. This is how I would like it to go, and leave it at that. Editing me here, and there are some things that I completely forgot to mention regarding postpartum and preparing for postpartum. There's two things that I didn't do enough beforehand, and that is research about breastfeeding and baby sleep, because these two things consume the majority of the hard part. Learning about baby sleep and learning about breastfeeding to a degree which you feel equipped enough before going in. I mean, nothing prepares you like just doing it. I felt like with Kairos, every 5 seconds I was Googling something regarding baby sleep and breastfeeding. So learning about wake windows, learning about sleep cycles, and what is normal for a baby to sleep. Write that stuff down, go over it, prepare for it. Doing that in the moment is not fun. So just wanted to add that. I think that's all. I think I covered everything that I'm doing to prepare for a natural birth. If you have any questions, I would love to answer them. This is one of my favorite things to talk about. I don't want it to get misconstrued that a home birth is better than a hospital birth or anything like that. So please, I'm not advocating one over the other. I'm just saying, for me, this is the route that I would like to go, and I'm so excited to do it. I'm so excited for the baby to be here. Anyway, if you are not subscribed, you should, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. We were standing in the freezing rain.